Now, in the administration, we are looking at the creation of objects, right? In the administration, we have creation of object. Every object you find in the administration, that is referred in the programming as object. Every object you have created in the administration of the Salesforce, that object we are going to call it as object, Salesforce object. It can be a standard object or it can be a custom object. So what is an object? Objects Salesforce database. Or called as object. S object can be a standard object or custom object. S object can be a standard object or a custom object. Example. This is what we got: account, contact, lead, and payment. It can be a standard object or it can be a custom object. Right. The next one. Every S object will have corresponding apex classes. For every S object, Salesforce has defined corresponding apex classes. Every object we have in the database of the Salesforce, has the corresponding apex class. Example: object name. We have account object has a class called. So every object has corresponding classes defined by the Salesforce. If you have an object in the database, it has the equivalent class created by the Salesforce. Now, how do you use the class? Class object equal to new class. If I want to access the class, create the object for the class and use it. So in the Apex programming, if you want to refer to any one of the object created in the database, we need to use corresponding Apex class. Now, create instance of. So in Apex programming, what I will do? Account ACC equal to account. In ACC, every field of account will be a variable in the account class. In account object, if you have any fields, those fields are referred in this class as a variable. So in the account class, what we have? ACC.name, ACC.phone. Every variable of account, every field of account is referred as variable in the account. Object dot variable. object dot variable. Are you getting my point? So what are the fields we have? Name, phone, industry, rating, ownership. That means you should have idea about which fields are there in account object. What type of values we are supposed to give to the account object. This is how we are doing. So what I'm doing? Creating an instance of an account. I'm creating an instance. Did I save to database? Now, if I open this account, click on new. If I enter any data, did I save the data to database? We just entered it. Now when you click on the save, it will be saved. But we just entered the data like this. We just enter the data like this. This is what I've done. If I click on the save, record will be saved to database. Here also, I created a object. Now I am trying to create a record. If I click on the save, okay, if I make a DML, this record will save to database. Until I make a DML, it is not saved. I only created, it is not yet saved to database. There, if I click on save, record will be saved to database. Here, if I apply a DML, record will be saved to database. Here in the programming, what I should do? Apply DML. There in the UI, what should I do? Click on save. Now, is it saved to database? No. We only created an instance of account object. I hope you are good with this. People have followed this, right? People have followed this. So what I'm doing? Every object in the database has corresponding Sobject as a corresponding Apex class. Every object in the database have corresponding Apex class. If you want to work with that object, we need to create the instance of that object, then start assigning the data. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? Okay. Create an instance of contact. Create a instance of contact. In the contact object, what are the fields we have? In the contact object, what are the fields we have? We have last name, first name, phone, email, other phone, mobile phone. Create the instance of contact. Then create an instance of lead. Last name, first name, phone, email. Now create this. How many records we are supposed to create? Create the instance of lead. Everyone make an attempt of creating them. This is a frequently used concept. You should be very good at these concepts. People have done this. So how you are done? Last name equal to this is how I create. Similarly, I am going to create This is how we create it. Okay. The same thing I can also create like this. Let L2 equal to last name. If it is a subject, I can do like this. Only if it is a table in the database, I can give like this. Not for a class. Okay. Last name N. Okay. Field name. I can also give it like this. Right? Now create all the three again in this format. Field name equal to value. That is one of the format. This is the second format. Right? So create all the three with the second format. Create all the three with the second format.
So the constructor order is doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Yes. Can you be a bit loud, boss? Not able to hear you. Voice not audible. Someone.
No, I joined very late, Satish.
Okay.
So can you just
This is the
guide
first
me?
topic. This is the first topic.
Oh,
Class started very lately.
okay.
Right, boss? People are done with this. There is a one more format also. There is one more format also, which is a third one. Look at the format. Lead L3 equal to new lead. Lead L3 equal to new lead. L3 dot get. Sorry. L3 dot put. L3 dot put.
Hello.
Wait for a minute. L3 dot put. First name Naveen. What was that? Field name Val. Field name Val. This is the way of reading. Any one is good. Basically, we use this format. First format we use frequently, but these are also useful to you in down the line as per the dynamic programming. We'll see them when they are useful, but these are the ways of creating a S object, instance of S object in the Apex. If you want to create an instance of S object in the Apex, these are the three ways. Now create all the three with the third format. Create all the three with the third format. Yes, go ahead. Someone is asking a question online.
Yes, this is Raghu.
Yeah.
The question is, so at line number 50, we are kind of calling a constructor, right?
Yes, this format is accepted only for S object, not for the classes. When you're taking a database table, for this is the format which is accepted.
Okay. And the last question is, when you say an S object, either it can be a default object given by Salesforce or an
Yes.
object that. Right?
Yes, it can be a standard object or it can be a custom object.
Okay. Thank you.
The fields of the object always start with capital letter, right, Satish?
Let's see, it's not a case sensitive. The Apex programming
Okay.
is not case sensitive.
Okay, yeah, thank you. One more question, Satish. The object which you're using, the like lead which you're using to create S object here, so the phrase will always be used like what we have defined in the programmatical name, right?
Exactly.
For example, if you create custom object also.
Everything will be the same format. Only thing is underscore C will be added.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Let us go to done, boss. Everyone has done this? Okay. Now let us see how it can be used in the class. Now I want to see how it can be used within the class. No. I'm giving a public account ACC. What is ACC? It is a reference variable. What is the data type? Account. What is the data type? Account. What is that ACC? Reference variable. What is that CON? It is a reference variable. What is the data type? What is it? Customer. It is a data type. Let me create one. No. Customer. Then I'm giving here public void create. So when you want to create an account, what I was supposed to do? ACC equal to. First we are allocating the memory. Why are you allocating the memory? It is a reference variable. Reference variable cannot work unless I assign the memory. Reference variable will not work unless I assign the memory. So ACC equal to account. Invoke. So what I'm doing here? I am creating an instance of a subject. I'm creating an instance of a subject. I'm creating an instance of a subject. I'm creating an instance of a subject. Now it is a reference variable. Understand the point? ACC is a reference variable. If you want to use that ACC equal to new account. Otherwise, what is the value of ACC? Null. What is the value of CON? Null. What is the value of CUST? Null. That null I am assigning the memory. After assigning the memory, I am putting the data. I hope you are good. Right. Now, how do you execute this? I got an example. A dot create, A dot invoke. I'm going to give system dot debug. Now A dot name. Sorry. A dot ACC dot A dot A is what? Class. In that class, what is the variable we have? ACC. In that ACC, we have a name. A dot A is an object of account example. In that AE, what we have? ACC. AE dot ACC. In ACC, what we have? Name phone. So AE dot acc dot name, ae dot acc dot phone. Similarly, what is the next one we had? ae dot con dot ae dot con dot we are supposed to do ae dot dot. This is what we have created. I hope you are good with this. A is an object of the class. In that class, we have a variable called ACC. So A dot ACC dot. When you are calling outside the class, inside the class, if you want to call straight away ACC dot name, ACC dot phone. If you want to call outside the class, first we are supposed to create an object for the class. Object dot ACC dot. I hope everyone followed this. This is what we have printed. Del 123, Myla Satish, 10,000. I hope you are good with this. Let us do one more example.
Sir, customer underscore C is the object that you created from the UA?
Exactly. It is a customer object. Any custom object I create will have underscore C. Any custom object I have created will have underscore C.
Thank you.
Satish,
Yes.
for the objects which we created, whether it is standard or custom object, all the fields will not have this modifier permissions,
See
like
what?
private, public, access
Already
modifier.
ACC we have defined. She has a question, why you not define the access modifier for the fields called name and phone? Now already we defined. Now ACC is of what type? Now I didn't define a string. I defined a variable ACC of type account. Account is of what type? Public. Account is of what type? Public account ACC. ACC is of okay. ACC is of public. Now every variable of ACC will become what? Public. Now ACC, within the ACC, whatever you have is your choice. But ACC is of what type? Public. So automatically ACC dot everything we can access with public. So we will not define every field separately. ACC is the variable which I am creating. When I say account ACC, ACC refer to everything in the account and which is in the form of public. Which is in the form of public. For every field, no need to define. Now ACC is complete object. ACC is a complete object. It is referring to every field in the object. Okay, boss. Let us do the next example.
Just one more clarification,
Let me
Satish.
wait for a minute. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
If I start discussion, people will keep on asking me questions. Okay. So let me give an example. Create a Apex class. The data members, account, lead, in the loan we have a type of loan, amount, in the lead what are the fields we had? What are the fields are there in the lead? Last name, first name, company, phone. Create a constructor and initialize the memory. object for the class. Right. So complete this example, everyone. Complete this example. Yes, someone go ahead now. Online, go ahead with your question now.
Okay. So my question was that in one class we are kind of defining the reference data type with account ACC, and we are using outside the class with that reference ACC. That means we have to, as a programmer, we need to go back to the original class and see what is a reference data type like ACC, and
Let's make
then
it simple.
we need to go.
I guess it's Ritu. Let me make it very simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Now anything in the class can be accessed with object only.
Yeah.
Any member in the class should be accessed with the object only. Now I have a requirement to access this thing. Now I have a requirement. This is the class. If I want to refer ACC or CON or COST, these are the variables of the class. I define.
I understand that.
Right.
Yes.
So you are supposed to create an object for the class, which is AE, and AE dot ACC, AE dot CON, AE dot COST. Right. Now in ACC, it's a record of account. Now in ACC record, which field you want to refer? AE dot ACC dot name, AE dot AC. ACC is a record. In the record, what do you want to print? Name, phone. In the contact, what do you want to print? Last name, first name. Customer, name and amount. Right? Now you ask me the question.
Yes, that's correct. I understand all that. That ACC is a, the reference point for us, and that's why we are saying AE.ACC.first name.
Okay.
But as I remember, you have written this public class separately, and then you called it in a different outside the class. You have called.
Anonymous window. Yeah. Yes.
So I mean, as a developer, I need to go back and see what is like, the reference point for account. Like here, it is ACC. So we need to go back and check, and then we need to call.
Obviously,
I mean, what is the practical approach?
No, you will not define this without knowing this.
Okay, understood.
Based on that only, you are supposed to define this.
Okay. But if I am picking up somebody's work, then I might need to go back and look into that class account example and find out what is the reference.
Exactly. Always we have to start with the class, then only code. Always the class will be verified, then only the code.
Understood. Thank you.
Hey, Satish.
Yes.
Question. When you're assigning this memory and the values, is it going to create a record in the table?
No. That's what I told. I just shown you an example here. Now, when I click on this and enter the data, is it saved to database? Now, is it saved to database? It is not yet saved, right? We just created the instead. Only when I click on this, the record will be saved. Now, when you say account ACC equal to new account, this is what I created. I didn't save. Only when you click on the save, the record will be saved, right? Here also, when I apply the DML operation, then only record will be saved to database. Whatever we are creating here, that is not saved to database. If you want to save to database, I need to apply a DML operation like insert. Then the record will be saved to database. Until you give this, record is not saved. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sir, line number 81.
Okay.
You created the object for the account underscore example, right?
Yes.
So that also we can call it as a custom object, or it's a programmatically created.
It's a class, no?
Yeah, for the class you are making the instantiation, right?
It's a variable.
So with the new operator.
It's a variable. See, understand the points very clearly. We have two things in this. One is class, one is SObject. SObject, whenever you are referring to a table, we are calling as SObject. That SObject also should be used in the Salesforce like a class only. So here everything is going to be a class. Whatever we are writing here, everything is a class. Now, when I said account, now what is this account? It is also a class. I told you very clearly, every subject will have a class. In the Apex programming, if you want to refer to, in the Apex programming, if you want to refer to any one of the table, okay, the table will have a class. Use that class and refer. Now I told like account, I told. Here, account object has what? Account class. So if I want to refer to the table called account, what I'm using? Account class. Now how do you use account class? Create an object for the account and use it. Account ACC. Now if I want to refer to contact, what I'm doing? Contact class. Now here everything is going to be a class. Everything is going to be a class. The question is that class was created by Salesforce or created by you? Account is the class which was created by the Salesforce. Contact is the class which was created by the Salesforce. Account example is the class which I created. So at the end of the game, everything we write in the program is what? A class only. Table, if you want to refer to any one of the table, I cannot refer like a table. The table will have a class. Every subject will have associated class. Using that class, we are creating a reference variable and we are using that object. Are you getting my point? Now, if it is a custom object, it may be a standard object, but it has a corresponding class. Customer underscore underscore C is the object name. Customer underscore underscore C is the class name. Right? So wherever I am using underscore underscore C, it is referring to custom object. Rest all the things are what? Classes. Now account example, is it a class or a subject? Do you have any table called account example? It is a class. It is a class. If you are defining anything, it is a class. Now account ACC. What is account? Account is a class referring to the subject account. Contact is the class referring to the subject contact. Customer underscore underscore C is the class referring to the subject as a subject customer underscore underscore C. Right. Now here what did
Customer
I do? It is a
customer underscore C.
Again, you're coming to the beginning. Customer underscore underscore C is the class referring to the subject customer. Customer underscore underscore C is the class referring to the subject customer. Every subject will have corresponding class. Underscore underscore C means what, boss? Custom object. It is a custom object. Now I told for every object there is a class. If object is account, class is account. Object is loan, class is object is loan dot loan underscore underscore C, class is loan underscore underscore C. Am I right? Okay. Now this is a class referring to a custom object customer. This is a class referring to the custom object customer. I hope you are good with this. Someone from online.
Yeah, it also having the table, right? That means customer underscore C also will be having a table in the Salesforce. Okay, got you. Thank you.
All right, boss. Okay. Any query from your end? People have followed this? People have followed
Satish,
this?
so you mean to say?
Yeah.
Satish, so you mean to say that when an object is created, automatically the class is created?
Exactly. Any table you create in the Salesforce database, Salesforce internally create a class for the table. Any object you create in the Salesforce or any object the Salesforce has created, let it be a standard object, let it be a custom object. Any object we have in the Salesforce will have equivalent class in the Salesforce. Okay, whenever we want to refer to that object in the program, we are supposed to use that class. Right, boss? Whenever we want to refer to an object in the Apex programming, we are supposed to refer by using corresponding Apex class. Every object in the database will have corresponding Apex class. Every table in the database will have corresponding class. Corresponding class with the same name, class will be created. Whatever the object name we have, with the same name, class will be created. In the Apex programming, if you want to refer to that object, we have to use the class which is created by the Salesforce. I hope you are good with this. Clear? So that's all from my end. And next session will be on Thursday.